Hey, in this video I'm going to talk about trees in urban development and in Giraffe. We recently had a request to figure out canopy cover in Giraffe, and so we've written this app that basically takes a development and you can run the app and look at the report, and the report tells you how many trees have been planted, what coverage of the site as an area of canopy cover versus site, and we're using a proxy of 100 square meters per tree. So we're talking about big mature trees that pi r squared is about 100 with a sort of 5 meter radius. We talk a bit about how many pollutant each tree will remove, and you can set a cost for the tree and to plant it and also to maintain it annually. So 10% coverage is below what the Greater Sydney Commission is aiming for, which is 40% canopy cover in Sydney. And the reason's obvious. Like, trees are just so good. They make oxygen, they make mental health, they control the urban heat island effect, they reduce stormwater runoff, they grow quietly. They are just this incredible thing. They're highly correlated with increased property prices, so more trees is better. We found this layer in Giraffe, this sort of green layer here, which is actually an awesome layer, shows the percentage of canopy cover in Sydney. So if you have a Giraffe account, you can access this layer. It's really, really detailed. You can see the North Shore, just canopy cover everywhere, and other parts of the city, much reduced canopy cover. So what we're going to do in this video is let's get our 10% cover for our development up, right? So this the baseline is 53 trees, 10% coverage, and let's just show you how the app works and how we can increase that canopy cover. So the first thing we can do is we could add a key to a Giraffe geometry called tree distance, and if we set that to 20, that'll add a tree every 20 meters on this road, right? So that's going to increase the number of trees. The other way we can add trees is just by adding them onto lines. So this line here you can see has a tree distance of 15. So this red line that I'm moving around, every 15 meters along it will have a tree. So if you're designing, you can do something like this, and you'll have a row of trees coming down there and then down here, which is kind of good. And maybe let's actually bring this row of trees all the way down there, and then let's copy this thing again and make another row of trees over here. So this is great for a designer. Like, normally you're sort of sitting there putting trees out, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. And the other way you can add trees with this app is with this with the tree density. So this is currently set to 80. So every 80 square meters, Giraffe tries to put a tree. And let's extend that out, right? So we won't go into the building, but let's go a bit further out. And this, I think, is similar. Every 80 square meters, there's a tree. So with those two adjustments, or a couple of adjustments, let's rerun the app. And while we're doing that, we'll look at the 3D view in Giraffe and sort of see, you can see the trees here on the deep planting there, and on those little courtyards, which are looking kind of good. But this main street certainly is a bit bare. So it looks like the app's completed. Okay, so we've doubled the amount of trees, we've doubled the amount of coverage, and if we go back to the 3D view and refresh it, we'll get a feeling of how many more trees we've made. Okay, cool. So putting trees on this street, I think, is very successful. These trees, they're not the most beautiful geometries you've ever seen, but they're sort of transparent and they tell a story. And certainly, this move of siding this development with an avenue is working really well. And I think these heavily treed parks also work quite nicely. I'm thinking of these trees as describing like really nice little lawns that'll be that then get fronted this north facade. I'm imagining a lot of activity on them here, and I can even show the winter sun. So let's just check that out. So in June, look, it's the June 21st, we may as well be precise. You can see there's sun here, so I'm imagining people sitting here, and maybe there's cafes there in the winter, and still catching some sun. And these trees could be deciduous as well, so if they lose their leaves, then there'll be a lot of sunlight coming through the branches rather than this fully shaded experience that's being rendered here at the moment. So the other thing the app shows is, yeah, the amount of pollutant, the coverage, cost to plant. We can edit that. This is a little bit involved, but if it costs $10,000 per tree to plant, and say it's going to cost $120 a year to maintain these trees, we can rerun the app with those updated figures and just get those calculations done. Otherwise, you've got the raw data there, so you can sort of do any maths you need. There we go. Let's check the updated report. All right, now we're in the millions to plant and 12 grand annually to maintain. So look, this is a great thing to consider at the feasibility stage of a project. I think firstly because it affects your feasibility with the cash, but secondly because you can start telling a story here with these trees, and even with these simple renders, this just looks so much nicer with these trees. This development is so much more palatable, and your imagination works so much better on what it could be like. If I just turn them off, it just feels naked, doesn't it? It just doesn't feel really good at all. So using the human psyche responding to trees is just incredible. I think a 30% increase in tree canopy cover reduces mental illness by 30%. Like, there's something really deep in us that responds to trees, and so getting them in early to a feasibility, especially at this scale, is just going to smooth the passage of this thing and going to make it far more attractive. Then of course you have the numbers as well. So that's how we think about trees. Love you to try the app. Let me know if you would like to. Otherwise, goodbye.